if you're going to get Mitch Marner, you're one of two things. You're a team that is already very good and had a disappointing first round, or you're a team that thinks we're ready to make the jump. So there are two teams that instantly stick out to me. One of them is obvious because they're them and this is what they always do. But the Vegas Golden Knights.
Oh, my God.
Just won a cup.
No way.
Just won a cup. And you got to be thinking, listen, what star have they not been in on? At least made a phone call. They were a draft pick away.
That is very fair.
From Erik
very
Karlsson.
fair.
So you know Vegas is calling.
That's very fair.
And is there an opportunity for Toronto to get, and again, you have to get somebody good back, like real good.
They've traded
because they just signed
future.
They just signed Noah Hanifin into that extension. So where does that put Shea Theodore?
That would be frigging great.
Shea Theodore, who's a year older than Hanifin, who makes 5.2 for one more year. Again, where does that put, a guy like, is there a more of a depth thing where Toronto just grabs? Because remember, it's not going to just be money in, money out, right?
Well,
it is Toronto's goal here is to get some cap flexibility.
I want Nick Hague.
You want
I want Nick Hague.
Nick Hague. I like that.
I want Shea Theodore or Braden McNabb. Like Shea Theodore's got to be a piece, and
you're gonna get like a D pair from Vegas,
and then one of Nick Hague or McNabb. You
need like a Theodore, and he's amazing, and I get it. But like you need something like that and some cap rate, because here's the thing: Toronto doesn't want to take anybody's dead cap anymore unless they're moving some significant piece. Like the only was it Arpin and Mark Anton were talking about the fact that Tavares to the Canadiens, if he would waive, might make sense because the Canadiens desperately want to get out from under Carey Price's contract. And Toronto could afford the dead cap. But, no, sorry, that's not dead cap. That's LTIR. But Toronto actually would like to take a swing at, from what I'm hearing, actually being under the cap. And accruing deadline cap space.
This tap dance every year where they literally can't do business because they're so up against the cap is bullshit.
Yeah. It worked for when they had David Clarkson, and they had to.
Yeah, but the stuff with like Matthew Nyes and like having to ice university goalies and everyone's fine. And
that was Dubas's thing. Treliving didn't do that.
No, I know, but like, well, even this year, like they weren't able to rest guys at all. Like it was just.
I think that they ideally would not do that again. So unless it's like a major move off of that.
Would it be such a disaster to retain on Marner or Tavares?
Yes, it would be an absolute disaster to retain on Marner.
For 1 year.
You do not retain on Marner. You are not retaining on a 99-point player.
Yeah.
The year before. Not last year. He got injured this year.
Erik Karlsson.
You're not
retained on.
Yeah, but Erik Karlsson was 33. He had a busted.
I know the difference.
He can't even pivot.
I know the difference.
And he's still very good.
No,
you're not retaining on Mitch Marner. Absolutely not. The team is taking him. And by the way, the trade's going to happen July 2nd or July 3rd once the bonus is paid.
I mean, that definitely makes the most sense.
And so when people say, oh, the teams can't afford. Oh, no. I think that there's plenty of teams that can afford the cap hit if they don't have to pay it.
You can also go 10% over the cap, which the Leafs can go something like $8 million over the cap.
Here's another team that makes a whole ton of sense to me. If they could get some finish in there. Weirdly enough, the New York Islanders, I look at.
Wow.
And I think, here's the thing. The Islanders have enough playmakers. They need some goal scorers, but they need to overhaul their offense. Patrick Waugh is going to be very involved in that. He likes guys that can finish. If you have a lineup with Barzal and Marner in 1 and 2 in the lineup.
Fun. It'd be fun to watch.
That's a Lou guy. Marner, Lou was there. I mean, I don't know if they're huge fans of each other because Lou stiffed him on his rookie bonuses.
Schedule B, shut up.
But, that's one I look at. Do the Colorado Avalanche with, unfortunately what's happened with Nichushkin. Do they go, we don't have him for the start of next year?
That's very interesting.
Do you want to make a move? So I don't think it's going to be some team with a bunch of cap space. I think it's going to be a team that's like, we're really good and this is a core piece of an organization. And what I think is going to happen here is Mitch is going to go to an organization that has some tough guys built in, that has a culture, that has this, has that, and he's going to thrive in the playoffs. He's going to be spectacular. Wherever he goes, my belief is that Leaf fans are going to go, what the hell, where was that? And it's because when you look at the way the Leafs what they surrounded him with going up against those Boston teams and Columbus, Montreal was just, unfortunately, he and Matthews just didn't show up that series the way they needed to. I think there's going to be, if you have guys around them that make space, this is a guy that, Colorado to me makes a ton of sense.
Colorado is very interesting, Adam. Also a team that is sneakily in on everything, whether or not it works out. And when a good player is available, they typically go, hello, we would like them. Carolina.
Yeah, I can see that. Just can't see them wanting to pay his extension. And I think he's not going anywhere unless that extension is signed. And I don't blame him. Because to me, if you're Mitch, you will never have better... you will never, ever, ever have a better sense and a better way to negotiate your contract than right now. It's even better than free agency because when you trade for somebody who is a free agent or a pending free agent, so if you trade for somebody who's an RFA, the RFA has all the negotiation power. Why? Because you just traded for them. What are you going to do? Not sign them?
How about Seattle?
Well, but think about Marner. So you're going to trade him with a year left on his deal. So you're going to give up real assets for Mitch Marner. If you're the acquiring team,
You have to have a guarantee.
you just better pay him whatever he asks.
Yeah.
Because if you pay all that and lose him, and by the way, Mitch is going to fetch a lot of stuff.
I don't think it needs to be a contender.
I think it more than likely is a team that is we believe we're a piece away. And I don't think he's going to want to go to a team that isn't.
I don't think a team that is a piece away needs an $11 million player. You know what I mean? A team that is a piece away needs to tinker, right? Like this is seismic. Like you're going to have to trade off your roster more than likely for this. And if anyone's going to be able to pull that off, it's Vegas, like you said. But some teams just need a marquee guy. I think Seattle's one of those guys or one of those teams. They need a marquee guy.
Imagine him and Jared McCann just finishing the Leafs.
Oh my God.
Jared just getting 50 goals and yeah. Here's what I think.
Columbus.
My archetype. No, Columbus is not. Not a chance. Nobody wants to go to Columbus. Never even if there's a free agent that went to Columbus, it's against their will.
I don't think
that team is so poorly run. It's embarrassing, and everybody knows it. The secret's out. Let me say this. Here's why I'm making this the Mitch Marner proposal. If we're gonna do this, is I look at the Florida Panthers who won the President's Trophy and said, yes, we'll take Matthew Tkachuk.
Right.
We'll trade Huberdeau, who just had the best season of his life. We will trade him because we want Matthew Tkachuk. And I'm not saying Mitch Marner is Matthew Tkachuk. I'm just saying they're both extraordinarily valuable players. And look at what Florida's done with Matthew Tkachuk.
But Florida wasn't a piece away. That's a huge deal. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you could argue that they would. How could you argue against that? They just won the President's Trophy.
I think a piece away, the definition of that to me is we're almost there. We just need this one thing. Not we're going to trade a 115-point left winger and like our second defenseman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what Florida did, and they came out the other side.
Yeah, they won the deal.
Them.
They did great.
Oh yeah, but like I just don't think that's one piece away. A lot of people have suggested Utah. I don't think that's totally stupid.
I think that's actually very intelligent. It's a question of what do they give back? Because there was Clayton Keller. I think if Utah gets Marner, they want to keep Keller.
I don't know enough about the politics, but Utah strikes me as a state with probably light taxes.
I don't know. I have no idea.
You know what I mean? Like you're also going to want to maximize your dollar.
I did love the Bleacher Report. Was it Hannah Stewart put together? And
yes,
she had Kerfoot going back the other way for Marner,
which was evil. And I was told her,
Hannah, come on,
evil.
Hannah Marner?
No, as a part of a package, but it was just like I think she was just trolling Leaf fans, and good for her.
All right, I've got a Vegas Golden Knights Toronto Maple Leafs trade to announce.
Let's go, Jesse.
Out from the Vegas Golden Knights, Shea Theodore, Keegan Colasar,
oh my God,
Nick Hague, and a third-round draft pick in 2025. Going the other way from Toronto. Mitch Marner, 15% retained just to make the salary cap work, but we probably don't have to retain because it's the offseason. You can go above the salary cap. Yep. So we can pretend or not pretend with the 15% retained. SDA and a sixth-round pick.
So Simeon Durga-Chintsev, that would be his rights. He's in the KHL right now. Jesse, did you make this?
Yeah.
Why the third and the sixth?
because draft picks are always like back and forth, and the Leafs need an upgraded. They need some picks for the future, so you throw that in. You kind of throwing SDA the other way, and you're upgrading that 6 to a third essentially with SDA going there. And you're getting Shea Theodore and Keegan Colasar and Nick Hague.
Shea Theodore would be like the best Leafs defenseman since I don't even know.
What do you think?
Brian
Who's
Leetch?
saying no? Who's
I
saying
think
no?
Vegas might, because Hague and Theodore is really tough to lose. Like then you have to do a lot of work this summer to replace those two.
Bless Nick Hague. You can replace Nick Hague if you're Vegas.
Yeah,
He's friggin' huge.
I just signed Hannafin. Like that's the point
Yeah.
of moving off of Shea Theodore and upgrading to Mitch Marner in your forward group. Eichel Marner.
That's interesting. The one thing I
So
want,
who says no?
and Hurdle.
What?
They just don't.
Oh, and
they have
Hurdle.
like they just don't have a cap.
yeah, Hurdle.
So who says no?
I'm talking myself into it.
For which side?
The Leafs. I'm talking myself into it.
If you're the Leafs, you wouldn't do this right now?
I think I would want to do it. First off, anything, no retention for me.
Yeah, I just need to do it for the salary cap.
Listen, if Shea Theodore and nothing else comes back, I'm happy because the thing that's most valuable is cap space.
What?
The thing that's most valuable in any trade in the NHL is cap space. It's
Oh,
more
one
valuable than
for
a first.
one?
You got 6-7 million to spend somewhere else.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Here's what I hate: 5.2 for 1 year, and then he's a UFA, and he's probably going to make $1 billion. Shea Theodore.
Yeah, but isn't he the defenseman you've been looking for?
Fucking right, he is.
Like,
But-
isn't he the top of the line defenseman that the Leafs have been dying to get?
See, that strikes me as a one piece away deal for the Leafs, and they're not. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But oh my God, what a piece!
I don't even know.
I'd like a little bit more future coming the Leafs' way in that deal.
Really?
Jesse,
And the
okay.
Vegas Golden Knights would be like, "That's nice."
Here's what I hate about trade talk is it's either yep, I'd do it, which definitely means the team that you cheer for is fleecing the other team.
Yep.
And there's no, I wouldn't. That's fucking stupid. Which means probably fair. What I like to do
If
in
both
trade-
sides hate it, it's good.
what I like to do in trade discussions is I like to look at a trade and I go, how far away from being ready is this?
And do you agree that it's not too far?
I think it's a good framework.
Yeah, right?
I do.
So what moves are you making to make this more compatible with the way you see this unfolding?
So how many years does Colasar have and Hague have left? And also you need to know that friggin' Theodore is extending with you and how much. So Colasar has 3
1 year.
years left.
1 year.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
William Karlsson's 3. Yeah. And then what did you need? Nick Hague?
Hague.
Hague is 1 year.
That sucks.
Is it possible to move out Nick Hague and get a centerman? Is there a centerman that Vegas possesses? Because the Leafs desperately need
They do have great center. Or
depth center, or somebody to, or if they want to get crazy, go get a true second line center and move Tavares down to the third line.
they got
Byron Fraze.
Eichel, Howden,
That would be
Carlson.
hilarious. Chandler Stevenson is up, by the way.
You're not moving off. Like maybe that's you just signed Chandler Stevenson.
Yeah, maybe you did that.
because they're not moving off of William Karlsson. Hurdle can play center. Hurdle's center. Eichel's there. Like I feel like you can't really take a center from Vegas.
I'd like a little more future in the deal.
In who?
Towards the Leafs.
Yeah, like what future from Vegas are you looking at?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they have like the futures to give you.
I think that Toronto really wants the freedom, the cap flexibility. Because if you bring in a guy that's a $5 million guy, which Theodore is, and you're probably going to re-sign him, obviously, you're looking at, first off, he has to waive his limited no trade, whatever he has, and then you got to sign him. But you also have to look at this year and go, how much cap flexibility are we going to have? If they go from 23, if they have $6 million extra, that's almost $30 million the Toronto Maple Leafs could spend this summer.
Okay. So you
So-
see the difficult finagling.
So you
we're
can
doing?
go get Alec Martinez, who is up for a nothing deal. You can bring back Klingberg on a 775, right? So you've got like depth pieces. Hope one of those works. It's a lottery ticket. Who cares? If you want Chandler Stevenson that badly, centerman, you pay a lot for.
Here's a easier one with less finagling involved.
All right.
Utah.
Okay, what do you get?
They have $43.2 million in cap space. And I don't think it's enough.
I thought you were going to say they had 43 draft picks because that wouldn't surprise
probably.
me either.
Actually, like how far is that from being okay? They have their first, and that's it. In each of the next 3 drafts, they have 10 second-round picks in the next 3 drafts. They don't need all 10.
Would you take all 10?
Fuck yeah, hell yeah!
Just
Give me picks 32 through 64. Just give me all of them. So they have. You don't get an NHL team just to be like, all right, here's some dudes.
No, you need a big move.
You need a big move. That's a big move. Big move. The Leafs get a bunch of futures potentially in that deal.
What are the futures, though,
in
did
draft picks? And you might go, well, how does that help them win? It helps them win because you can spend them however you want.
Do you get Josh Doan?
No.
No,
No.
no. I was about to say
Maverick
he's staying in the
Lamoureux?
desert. So when Hannah Stewart did this, she had Maverick Lamoureux, who's a huge defenseman, coming the other way. That's who, if I'm gauging my Brad Treliving meter, he's involved in the deal. Mm-hmm. It would be nice to make your team better now.
Yeah, what are we doing here?
Utah doesn't help you do
We
that.
build it for 2030?
No. But what you can do, and I have a feeling whatever this deal is going to make no sense at all at the time.
Okay.
But they're going to quickly put the word out, hey, we got these picks to trade them.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like you're too obsessed with the futures thing.
Yeah.
I feel like Austin Matthews is only going to be Austin Matthews for like 6 more professional hockey seasons.
Yeah.
That's
gotta
why
go-
Shea
you gotta
Theodore makes
win.
a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at another team that went out in the first round. Who else went in the first round that had a disappointing time that could potentially deal for
Winnipeg.
this? Winnipeg. He's not waving to go to Winnipeg.
Damn.
He's not. So, let's just call it what it is. He's not. So,
L.A.
what else you got? L.A.
Probably not going to California, though.
Why?
I could see.
I
see
can
it.
absolutely see him.
The taxes are fucked, but I could probably see it.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
I for sure can see that. Now,
You know who hangs out in California? Patrick Marleau and Joe Thornton.
there you go.
Mitch Marner, you are a San Jose Shark.
So no, I don't think about that, but I look at what LA has. Can you get them to part with a Jordan Spence?
Well,
with a Mikey Anderson?
The name everyone throws out there is Byfield, and I think the Kings would be insane to do that.
They're not. But Anze Kopitar did say, "I'm not here for a retool."
Yeah, Byfield
Can you get-
is about winning right now. Like, that's not a prospect anymore.
Yeah, he is. He's 21, and he's an RFA, and they need guys like that.
Get Trevor Moore in the deal and flip him to Pittsburgh for 5 firsts.
Can you get Anze Kopitar?
Fucking
Hey,
no way.
You're not in it for a retool, so Anze, why don't you come on down to Toronto for the next couple of years? You can play center.
I think it's got to be a defenseman, right?
Or it's got to open up the possibility that they get a defenseman.
Is that Brett Pesce? Like, you're signing him
And
free
Chris
agency?
Tanev.
Like, that's not. I don't know if that's juicy enough.
They do need a guy. They need the flag in the earth. This is a top 10 defenseman in the league.
Just
Cale
you-
Makar.
You bring up something incredible that I think we're all forgetting here. What do we keep saying with a Marner trade? It's happening July 2nd because of the bonus structure.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. A shitload of business happens at the draft, and a shitload of business happens July 1st. So what I think is going to end up happening is we're going to find out about a deal agreed upon in principle a week or two before it actually happens.
Yeah.
Because it's going to paralyze the Leafs and the team or teams involved in the deal otherwise.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, because like this has to be figured out like leading into draft time, because you can't be sitting there waiting, be like, I don't know about these assets. Because what do we always hear about with UFAs? Like, we hear this from Alan all the time, is like, if you're not at the dance, like at 12:01 when July 1st hits, you miss out, because people want assurances on their cap, on their roster. So you need to get your deal done really fast, because if you're sitting there on July 3rd, you don't know who your dance partner is.
Maybe there's a team that says, you know what, I know you have a deal in place with Marner, but I'm willing to pay now.
Well,
there you go.
That is the interesting thing.
And then then all bets are off. And one team that I think we should look at, even though they've never has tons of cash and they are rebuilding it and they never have ever come up in trade discussions at all.
Montreal.
Chicago.
Oh.
You have to look at Chicago with very likely, a young superstar coming in. Connor Bedard.
Because they're nowhere near competing.
They're nowhere near competing. However, Mitch, you're going to be the guy that sets Connor Bedard up for life. You've done it with Matthews. Now it's time to do it again.
Until you retire.
It's Steve. I am your phone. And I buzz on June 24th. And it says, Mitch Marner traded to Chicago.
MLH is happening. You should have never deleted it.
Paychecks in the mail. Saudi will be delivered by your helicopter.
Sorry, what did you say?
It says Mitch Marner to Chicago.
Yeah.
In exchange, Seth Jones plus. Is that the guy? Once you looked at your phone, are you gonna be like, oh yeah, let's go? Or are you gonna be like, fuck?
I'm gonna be like, fuck.
Why?
I mean, he'd be the best right-handed D the Leafs have had ever. Maybe. Like, dude, they just have such a void there.
Because if Chicago is the deal that they do, like, that's the piece that comes back, right? Because that's the big name defenseman you want.
Yeah.
So is that big name, is that good enough?
They're so early in the rebuild that, like, you want guys off the roster if you're the Leafs, and
I think
they just don't have much to offer.
Seth Jones doesn't get you all hot and bothered.
But what if the Leafs
sure doesn't?
No, it doesn't. I don't. By the way,
Shea Theodore did.
People have been suggesting that, and I'm like, no.
No, because that's really the only way the Chicago deal makes sense.
Well, what if you just drop $11 million and you have $33 million to spend? You
can't communicate that to a fan base. I don't think you can't communicate that.
Well, doesn't this go back to Steve saying the deal won't make sense until it does? Until later.
I don't even know if you're Brad Treliving. How do you communicate that to yourself? Where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this for the potential to get good guys. You need an assurance that you're moving out this star player, that you have something coming back.
All right.
This is the way I'd look at it.
Now we're cooking with gas. All right. Chicago, less cap space than Utah, but still over 30 million. Lol. Their draft picks for the next 3 years. This year, their own first and Tampa's first. In the second round, their own second, LA second, Vancouver's second. Next year, their own first and a conditional, the Leafs first, followed by their own second and Dallas's second. In 2026, their own first, their own second, the Islanders second, and the Leafs second. So the thing with Utah is they only had their own firsts. Those extra firsts that Chicago has potentially move the needle in terms of if the Leafs get them, they can flip them for something else. Because Chicago doesn't have anything that gets me excited.
What about Frank Nazar?
No.
Why would you do that if you're Chicago? Like, I've seen a few people suggest that. What was he picked? 7th overall, something like that?
That doesn't make sense
13th.
From their
13th?
perspective. It also doesn't make sense for the Leafs. Like, okay, you're doing that, and then okay, he's gonna be great in 3 years.
I think he's gonna be real good. I think you know who Frank Nazar fits the window of? Chicago.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't make any sense.
And
for
Steve,
them.
you doing these draft pick trades, that better be a 3-way deal. On day of, it better be because you're not trading Mitch Marner for just picks and saying we'll figure it out later. That's not satisfactory.
No, I think you're
enough.
right. You're right on that.
You need that deal to be completed with the other team to go get the assets at the same time.
It doesn't have to exactly be a 3-way deal, but it's like, okay, we get these picks. to trade them.
No, but it does. Because like you can't trade Mitch Marner for a first round pick and just say maybe we'll get something good back. Like I would be incredibly disappointed. You're also setting yourself up for not getting that person back.
You need the defenseman too. You do need a defenseman at some point.